Welcome, everybody. My name is Clifton Roosboom, and I'm the founder and CTO of Pocket Lab. And I'll be joined on camera here by John Suhaki, the CEO of Conceptual Academy and the author of two Conceptual Academy titles, Chemistry and Integrated Physics and Chemistry. And we're very excited to have everybody join us for our webinar. Thank you so much for tuning in and learning more about this partnership between Pocket Lab and Conceptual Academy and the new instructional materials, textbooks maybe, that we're bringing to Texas as part of the new 2024 TEKS. And there might be some people on this webinar that are not in Texas. So welcome to you too. For this one, we'll be focused mostly on alignment to the TEKS and how Conceptual Academy covers all the new standards, the move towards three-dimensional learning in the new TEKS, which is where a lot of standards have moved towards over the last 10, 12 years. So it applies other places too, but this will be very Texas and TEKS specific. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for everybody saying hi in the chat and telling us where you're from. And John and I, we are joining you. I'm in Tennessee, near Nashville, and John's in Colorado, but we have been around. We were in Texas for the last 2 weeks, going to meeting with various school districts. We were at a whole bunch of regional meetings, the CAS conference. Maybe we saw you at the CAS conference if you're in Houston. And so a lot of our energy, we're in a national company, and we have operations in a few states, but a lot of our energy is really focused on how to teach for next year with these new TEKS standards. So welcome everybody. And our agenda today will be to talk about our programs, the instructional materials, the core content, and John Suhaki is the expert on that, and he'll have the floor to talk about the pedagogy and everything included in these programs.
Demo.
Yes, and I'll talk towards the latter half more about Pocket Lab Notebook and how everything is delivered in our platform, fully interactive digital experience that we think is really powerful. You know, it's built from the ground up to be this interactive experience. We're really excited about it. It connects with our Pocket Lab sensors, like Pocket Lab GeForce here, to do really cool hands-on science experiments. So we think it's got a lot going for it. So thank you for everybody that's that's present here. We've got a great audience. I wanted to, before I hand it over to John, I wanted to make mention that as we've been going around talking with districts and science coordinators and teachers, all the people that are looking at adopting new materials, it seems like there's two types of questions. There's a long checklist that many review committees and districts have about what is contained in the program. Things like LMS support, is it print, is it digital, alignment. And so I'm sure there are a lot of check boxes that anything that's going to be used in your classrooms or in your district need to check off, need to meet. So as you have those questions, you can throw them into the chat. We have people, Scott is in the chat and he can answer those questions. If it makes sense and we catch it going by, we can answer it. And we'll certainly get to all those questions during Q&A. So if you have them at any point, just throw them in there. So we want to make sure that you have all the information that you need to vet what it is you're going to be used with your students. And then what we've seen is, like, what is it in these new instructional materials that is interesting? What's new? What's exciting? Like, what will be different in your classroom, or what are the features that really differentiate how you might teach with conceptual chemistry, conceptual physics, that we have versus other offerings out there. So we also want to emphasize what we think is new and different and unique about our program, which we think it has a lot. And so we will hopefully, by going through our demonstrations, highlight some of those things. So we will start with the content itself, and I'll throw that over to John. And as questions come up, please throw it into the chat, and we will give an overview of all of our programs. So we have physics, chemistry, biology, and integrated. So we'll show all of those, at least give an overview, and then also some details of the individual ones. Okay. Well, John, you have the floor.
Thank you, Clifton. So first, I'd like to start off pointing out how we are at Conceptual Academy, a company of science instructors and authors. Our mentor, of course, is Paul Hewitt, who started the conceptual physics program in the 1970s. So you think about it, conceptual physics has been here for, my gosh, half a century. So you might ask, how has it been here for so long? And I think everyone who's worked on the program will agree that it's just because it works. And from conceptual physics that started in the 90s, lent into conceptual chemistry, and then we had conceptual biology, and so it just blossomed since. And so it's content that is tried and true. It's been around the block, and so if you're looking at our conceptual curriculum, please know you're not going to be taking chances on some new material. No, this goes way back. But what we have here in our union with Pocket Lab is a company of engineers. So imagine a company of science instructors getting together with a company of engineers and putting them together. You have the conceptual and you have the experiential put together, and it's just been fantastic. So it's been quite the joy, taking all our conceptual content and porting it over to the Pocket Lab Notebook Pro platform, which is just a natural for what is truly the next generation of conceptual physics, chemistry, and biology, and so forth. And our goal here is to further the legacy of Paul Hewitt, who is still, by the way, doing quite well and working, and he's behind a lot of this curriculum. Let me also point out, in terms of like who we are as a company of science instructors and authors, I'm a community college instructor. That's my background. And Paul told me when I was up and coming many years ago, if I was to get into this business of teaching, the place to do it is in the trenches. You just got to go there and do it. Just can't theorize about what might work in the classroom. It just doesn't go like that. And so I found a community college in set of place in Hawaii, where I was able to practice my wares and learn from the classroom. And so all our content, and this is true of Paul's material and our other co-authors, is class tested over our careers. But the point here is that at community college level, you're talking grade 13, grade 14. It's because of our conceptual orientation, focus on the ideas. Why is the sky blue? What do fish breathe underwater? It's not the water. Those ideas, that conceptual orientation lends itself well to high school, which is how it is our curricula is also widely used at the high school level as well. So we view ourselves as a unique 914 publisher, not K-12, but 914. There's that special grade band where the students are opening up, learning about themselves, learning about the world, their environment, who they are, where they are, and all that beautiful stuff, which is particular to, I see as a 914 grade band, which I'm reminding myself, this right here, this printout is a printout. All those dots are the colleges and universities in Texas that use one of our conceptual programs, right? So this is to say, what we want to be able to do is scaffold our programs used at the community college level to an appropriate stage for the high school level. And for that, I can show you this. This is Paul's conceptual physics book, and it's about that thick, right? This is Conceptual Academy Physics, which is a scaffolded version of this one. Just put them together, go like that, and you see what happens, right? So this is for, and it gets better. This is for college, right? Over a single semester. This is for high school, over a year. What's the goal? The goal isn't to stuff the physics into the student's mind. The goal is to turn the student on to the natural wonders of their universe in which they live. The goal is to get curiosity nurtured, right? So it's almost like it doesn't matter what you cover, but that what you cover is cool and interesting and engaging. You know, you have to talk about the 5 E's, engage, explore, and all that wonderful stuff is a natural when you're talking about physics, science, chemistry, biology, when you're studying your role, your place in the natural universe. That is key. So this is the high school version, if you will, for physics. And we also have for chemistry. And we also have now for biology, featuring Jennifer Ye, an incredible biology author, and right out of UT Austin, in fact. So these are our babies. We love them, and we know books are still going to be used. They're important for your lesson plans, having a set in the back. But we often get the question is like they'll see the book and they'll go, "Oh, that's your curriculum." It's like it's a tiny portion of the curriculum. It's one day it used to be the centerpiece. Well, today it's more of a supplement, right? All else is located now. All the instructor resources, other student resources, lab activities, sensor activities, writing activities are located on Pocket Lab Notebook Pro. And so that's what I want to dig into now, is to give you, that's the introduction. Next, I want to give you a tour of the content. And then I want to show you a demo so you can see how it actually works. It can work right in your classroom. All right, so Clifton, for that, I can share my screen. Do I have?
Yes, should be able
do that? Okay, are we there?
Perfect.
Okay, great. Welcome to Conceptual Academy Physics on the Pocket Lab Notebook Pro platform. It goes by the table of contents of the textbook. So you can see up here is the cover, and these are the chapter opening photos from each of the chapters. And that's for physics. We have the same for our chemistry title. We have the same for our biology title. We have the same for our integrated physics and chemistry title, which is a union of the physics and chemistry program. I want to give you a sense of the breadth, the comprehensive nature of everything we have here. You're talking about all of our careers pumped into this Pocket Lab Notebook Pro as a resource for you. Let's dig into a tile. A tile corresponds to a chapter, and here are the chapter sections, chapter module, whatever you want to call it. Let's open up 2.1. The very first module, we call it the core lesson. And you'll see each core lesson is followed by a variety of activities. Let's dig into lesson 2.1. You're going to get a series of cards. I should mention this. When you change the medium, you change everything. What gets put on paper, you shouldn't just, there's things you can do in the book that you can do in the book really well. You just don't want to take the book and transport it over to the online. When you're online, that's its own medium. You got to build curriculum for that medium. When you change the medium, you change everything. It's like, it's just built into me. So you can't do video in a book, but you can do video really well in online. And so that's what we do here. We take the video and we integrate it with the paragraphs. We have the automated assessment reading check questions, video check questions, and these are mostly formative that the students can quickly see how they're doing. The instructor can see how the students are doing, and so you can get that immediate feedback. So you see it's just a series of cards. And how would you do this in the classroom? Well, you would assign this to the class, and the students will be able to see it on their phone, on their Chromebook, what have you. And a key thing here is this is editable. And when Pocket Lab approached me, they were like, "Are you okay with that?" And we were like, "That's awesome. You mean the instructor can go ahead and modify this as they wish?" And the answer is yes. You can add your own cards. Let's look at the different types of cards that you can add. Collecting data, science and engineering practices, speech to text, PhET simulations, data table, bar graph, the multiple choice questions. You can build out your own lessons. You can take lessons that we have and modify them as you need. So that is a key feature of Pocket Lab Notebook Pro. But this is just the core lesson. As I back out, you'll see, when you open it up, you'll see these other modules that you can open up. And these are the activities that go along with the core lesson. And let's see, let's go to 2.4. Yeah, here's a sensor activity. This is an activity that involves working with one of Pocket Lab's sensors. These things, they're really fun. Here we have them on a Hot Wheel track. And so these are lessons integrated with instruction, with PhET simulation, with video, and tables that the students work on directly. And so a lot of these we've built out for you already. Is to say it's pre-populated, right? But you got to understand that with Notebook Pro, it's the equivalent of handing you the car keys, that you can go and drive wherever you need to drive, as we all should as science instructors. We have our own things that we need to do, and that's key. What other activities I wanted to go to? Oh, then people are asking, but wait a second, do you have anything more than just the sensor activities? Absolutely. From our library, which is rather deep, we have lots of hands-on activities and other activities that don't necessarily involve the sensors. We've got, here's a writing activity. Imagine you're a sports announcer doing a sportscast at an important game. Write a transcript of your sportcast using at least 7 of the following terms. All of these activities, you got to keep track of them. And so we built what we call our lesson activity pacing guide. For physics, there are, oh my goodness, like 300 different activities, and like a menu. You don't eat everything that's on the menu. You select from the menu things that you feel are appropriate for your particular class that you're about to have. We have suggested activity sequence you can follow to be sure. If you're a new instructor, you'll want to follow these. In green, those are where we have our author recommended activities. And notice there are a lot of blank spaces. It took me a while to realize the importance of those blank spaces. Those blank spaces are what you can fill in with your own activities. You'll have your own toolkit of activities that you do, tried and true, in your class. Well, we would encourage you to become familiar with the Notebook Pro platform, as we have, and you can dump those into the Notebook platform and it becomes interactive. So again, the idea is we're giving you the car keys to build out as you see fit. So the pacing guide summarizes all that's available for you. And you can see, of course, it lines up. We line it up to what TEKS are being covered and whatnot. All right, so there's that. Then if you go to the bottom of the lesson, this is a chapter. You know, at the end of a book, you're going to have the chapter review questions and all the end of chapter material we talk about. You'll find that in here too. But how might we work this in the medium? Remember, you change the medium, you change everything. You got to make sure it's appropriate for that medium. And what I've got here is the lesson activity from the lesson activity pacing guide. Here we go, homework practice sessions. So we found out a number of years ago that our test banks have been compromised by the likes of Chegg and Quizlet and all those. So that was lemon given to us, and so we turned it into lemonade. We took all of our test banks and we put it into this gamified activity. We call it the homework practice sessions. And the only reason we call it homework practice session is to give an idea of its weight. So what the system does is it looks to what has been assigned and it pulls questions from the bank that are relevant to that, what the student is covering, and it just gives them all those questions all at once. This one here has 142 questions. And we see it's gamified. Students earn points for each correct answer, and they can build up to various medals that we call them. You start a session, and it all begins with a short answer. The student can write in anything they want there, and it's like writing in a chalkboard that's about to be erased. Truly, no one's going to be seeing that, but the student and their teammates, if they're working in teams. This is awesome for team-based learning. And then they can look at the multiple choice version of that very same question. They'll see their initial response, which is like a warm-up, right? And then they have the multiple choices that they can choose from. And if they get the correct answer, it goes, they get a clicker sound, right? And it's a great activity to have students working round robin. The questions are delivered randomly. So if 4 students at a team are working with these, they are going to be getting different questions, right? And so with different questions, they can take turns. So say it's my turn and I would read this question to my classmates and we talk about it. And if the classmates don't hear that clicker sound, they're like, did you press the button yet? And so, yeah, I pressed the button, it was wrong. And so why was it wrong? Meanwhile, the instructor, us, we're roaming the classroom answering questions. And what you can do with your class, you can say, hey, we need everyone to get to a gold medal today. And so you just walk around to see that each student has a gold medal. Yep, that's it. It's all about practice. Now, where do these questions come from? I mentioned they come from our test bank. And so we have that available for you as well. If you were to use those questions that are in the HPS on your exams, that's a good thing, because students might by chance actually see a question that they worked on in the HPS, truly homework practice session. And the emphasis is on practice, like playing basketball. You throw the basketball, it hits in the hoop, you get your 2 points. And you don't take a step ladder to go up and just put in like that. You go out and you take chances. And so we find the average, don't tell anybody this, the average on these is about 55%. We don't tell the students that. We say you need to earn so many points. Going from percentage to point is a huge difference we've discovered. We call it encouragement based. All students can get to 10 points to get a gold medal here. And I might also mention that if you're on Canvas, we have the imscc.imscc files that we can provide for you that you can upload to your Canvas account. And that will make the whole test bank available to you through that. Oh, great. So I showed you the HPS and the test bank, CPA. Now, for something else, let's back out. And you saw that we have a wealth of content with physics, chemistry, biology, and integrated, right? We have a lot of content that we at Conceptual have developed for you. But check this out. Up here's the lesson library. We're talking community learning. We can have students working together in their own learning communities. We need to have teachers working together in their own teaching community. And that's what's represented here with this lesson library. This is content developed by other fellow teachers, available for anyone that they can grab from, and you can import these into your own lessons. But check this out. You can make your own lessons. You just click this button right here, and then you can add all the various cards. And this happens to be my little thing right here where I'm creating some lessons. This is a lesson using the air sensor. And excuse me, this lesson here is not completely done, but that's great because I want to show you how I'm building it out. First, I put a sweet looking card right here at the top. It's kind of like an orientation. Orientation diagrams are important. And then this activity is using the Pocket Lab Air. What makes for fresh air? Isn't that a good question? Why'd your mother always tell you to open the window, right? What's going on there? Well, with this thing, we can actually measure that. We can quantify it. And so here's an activity where students will be measuring the amount of carbon dioxide in the air. So let's do that. I'm going to connect the Pocket Lab, and this is by Bluetooth. And I click it, opens up, and I'm paired, and give it a moment. Bam, it just works. And so what we have here, this is measuring, it can measure all sorts of stuff. Clifton, I don't know how you did this, but these are the ones that are turned on right now by default. My favorite is the carbon dioxide. Watch this. Wait for it. Cool. It peaks out at 500 ppm, I found, right? So this is real time, and you can record that, and I did last night. This is what I did. All right, and so here's a fun little activity, right? Indoors, outdoors, lit match. What, when, where, and why, right? So you look at these, and you ask the students, describe the story, right? Where, down here, from the above data, indicate when the Pocket Lab Air was indoors, when it was outdoors, when it was exposed to a lit match. I mean, you don't want to burn the thing, but you put a lit match, you know what happens to the particulate matter? Yeah, and therefore the air quality index, right? And so notice this is a group discussion. And then this one's actually fairly easy. Then the one below, like this, what, when, where, and why. Look at that one. From the above data, indicate when the Pocket Lab Air was in the living room, in the basement, and placed in a bag of old lettuce. Now, there's an activity you can do where you take it and you put it in a bag, the Pocket Lab Air in a bag with some fresh lettuce and sunlight on it, and the CO2 will it what? Go up, down, or stay the same? Well, what's photosynthesis? And the students think about it and they go, oh, well, CO2 is going to go up. No. CO2 is going to go down. Yeah, that's right, because photosynthesis is driving. And that lettuce you're eating is alive. Whoa. Okay. So I did it last night, and that's not what happened. Look, give it away. This right here. Because it's old lettuce. It's decomposing, and the CO2 is coming back out. But look what happened here with the particulate matter. Right? And this is our living room right here. I went downstairs into the basement. My wife could not believe this. The air quality index is better in the basement. Okay, so there's so much to explore with these things. It's just crazy fun. Now, you ready? Let's do a demo. And I'll show you how this actually works. I'm going to assign to class. Let's do Clear Creek. I should have made a new class. And I'm going to assign the fresh air indoor activity, and I'm going to add some groups. And I don't know how many of Clifton, how many are in here?
We have 35 people in here.
Okay, great. So we'll have 5 groups. And now I'm going to send out the assignment. Assignment link, bam. So this is the part where you take your phone, or if you have the link, if the students are on their tablet, they'll have a link.
John, you can also
take a
put
picture of that.
And John, if you could drop the link into the chat, people can click on it from there.
Oh, okay. I'll take this and put that in the chat.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I see people are signing up. I just tried to put the link in the chat. And you're going to see that lesson on your phone. And what just blows us away is that you'll see you as a student can add your own cards, right? We are strong advocates for a field journal approach where the students are documenting that which they do. We don't want cookbook lab activities, but what we want exploration and all that. But really, what we want is documentation. I don't know, when I was in grad school, it was all about writing things down and learning how to articulate that which you think you understand. And so field journals are great. And I'm old school, and so I have a composition notebook. Composition notebook. And why did Pocket Lab call it notebook? Because it's a notebook. And so that's what you're seeing there. Students can add their own comments. They can hook up to their own sensors. They can build out their own data tables. They can write out their own questions. And what you're also going to see is they can talk with each other. So I'm going to move along here. Close that. And I can see that group 2, you've not done anything yet. Right here are the cards that were built out in that lesson. Okay, Brandy is done here. And so see how it lights up when students start doing something? And so this is how you can monitor your students as they're going through the activity. And you can reply back to the students, and students can talk with each other. It's basically social networking, all within a safe, distraction-free environment where the focus is on the 5 E's, right? Engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. We don't spell out the 5 E's so much in our curriculum. Maybe we should do that more, but with the conceptual and the experiential approach, it is a natural. Anything else, Clifton? Those are my 2 cents.
That's amazing. That's a good overview. And I can give them a little bit of a tour around some of the other features, but let's pause there for a second and see what questions we have. From Carmen Berry, can you lock student access to tests, or do you just pull the questions into whatever testing program you use? So Carmen, students don't see anything until it's been assigned to them. So anything in here is a lesson, and it won't be in a student account until it's assigned to them, as well as what John was talking about with the bank of questions. It is in a file format that it could go into whatever testing program that you might use. It could go into Canvas. It could go into a bunch of other digital test platforms. So let me know if that doesn't answer your question, but I think hopefully that covers it. And then there was a question. Sydney Martinez makes a note that John, your lesson could be a good one for health, about bad breath and carbon dioxide, which is, yeah, totally right. And there's there's a lot of like really fun use cases. I mean, during the pandemic, classes were using the humidity sensor to measure, like test different masks and how that sort of held in your breath. So there's some cool, creative like health activities, and everything is designed to be flexible with our sensors so that you can go and explore interesting questions you might have. And then Christina, hopefully we linked the physics pacing guide to you, which John was going through, and we can follow up in each program. In the About This Program chapter, there's a link to that pacing guide for each of the 4 subjects. John, I don't know if you want to navigate to where once you get access to the digital, where you might go find the pacing guides.
Yeah, excellent. So here we are at the homepage, right? Showing everything. Go to About This Program, right? And then under the About This Program, you'll find the icon for the lesson activity pacing guide. Right there. Yeah, right now it's a Google Doc. We'll be developing this further, of course, so that each of these will be links that will bring you to the lessons. So otherwise, right now, you'll have it in 2 tabs. In this tab, you can see what's going on, where something is located. It's not only a menu, it's a library. And it'll tell you where to look right here in 1.5 net force. You'll find these various items. And so then you navigate to 1.5 to find those various items.
Right, perfect. Sydney Martinez asks about how students can access these lessons. And Sydney, for this demo, we have the QR code and the link to get people onto this lesson really quickly for a demo. In practice, like in your classroom, you can access this from anything, any kind of computer, Chromebook, tablet, smartphone. Our app is unique in that it is a web application. You don't have to install anything. It runs the same and looks the same, whether you're on a Chromebook or a Mac or Windows or on any kind of touch device. It works with tablets and phones. So it's really been designed for for easy use. And John's got his Pocket Lab GeForce connected, and so durable, and you can drop it off your desk. And
Yeah, I was at a conference and they asked about the durability, and I took the Voyager is my favorite actually. It does so many things, and I threw it across the room. It survived very much well, but it did pop open, and you saw the circuit board, and that's a key thing is what's in this box. It's not a black box; it's an orange box, but inside is a circuit board, and like, how does that work? That's a good question, and you lead students in terms of what's going on with, well, at least in physics, with circuit diagrams and so there's just tiny little circuits in there. That's all it is. I'm not going to say RLC circuit, but I just did.
Yeah. Carmen Berry asked about the videos. All the videos in Conceptual Academy are embedded using a program called Brightcove, so they're not YouTube. And Brightcove is generally one of the most school-friendly video platforms. So yeah, everything embedded within our Conceptual Academy lessons are Brightcove. You can embed videos as well, and we know and Vimeo. So we have a lot of options. You just from the drop-down menu, YouTube is one of the ones that our teachers commonly use, but we know it can be blocked in a lot of schools.
And we have the captioning, of course, in Spanish as well. And we're moving the core lessons over to Spanish translations too. That's important. Oh, and also in terms of video, I did not point out the instructor support area. If you go to any beginning, you'll have, well, here's where you can get the test bank. It's just a link. That's to a CSV file ready for upload to your LMS. But we have a lot of instructor resources. In the old days, you'd have something like this, the teacher's edition, right? And these things are really heavy. Well, we have all that stuff, and we've put it into these instructor resources per chapter. A key one is actually right here. This is all of Paul's lectures. If you're a beginning instructor, if you know of a beginning instructor, you might not be a beginning instructor, but it might be your first year teaching physics. How do you do it? Well, Paul has all his video lessons right here. It's not just learning about momentum, but how do you present momentum to the student? All that conceptual approach is, along with the cartooning, he has cartoon workshops also. I should mention, it's not about drawing it beautiful. The moment you start to draw it beautiful is the moment you're showing off. This is not good. Paul will tell you, you want to draw it quickly and effectively, so it's good enough. The speed is key. And it's important to just put a little bit of time learning how to draw a cube with perspective, because it shows you care. That you spend some time before coming to class, not a chalkboard anymore, but a whiteboard or overhead, whatever you're drawing on, to just put a little time and energy into being able to draw a cube with perspective. That's one of Paul's philosophies, and he guides you in how to do that for physics. So I need to point out that the full lesson library for Conceptual Physics Alive is also available to you, and this is important for professional development for both new and seasoned instructors.
Thanks, John. Sarah Bunger asks, are the videos COPPA compliant video platforms? Yes, everything notebook is COPPA, and we work very hard at that. Sydney asks about middle school science, and for now, Conceptual Academy is really targeted at high school. And we have a few middle school curricula already on our platform with Open SciEd and Kessler Science. So those are already there. If you're interested in those, please send us a message, and they're awesome programs. And we're in the process of bringing a whole lot more content onto notebooks. So stay tuned. We are adding content and lots of different grade levels. For now, Conceptual Academy is really targeted at the high school level. And then John, one thing I wanted to show, if I'll grab your screen share from you. And then as people have questions, please put them into the chat, and we'll sort of exit to dedicated Q&A time here in a second. So one thing that John showed is our lesson library. I just want to emphasize that there's many hundreds of lessons here currently, and we add, I don't know, 5 to 8 new lessons here on a given week. So it's ever expanding from 3rd grade on up through college on every science subject. So a lot of these we have developed, a lot of them really great partners have done in combination with us, and then we have educators that have contributed lessons. An example of one here is be a physical science or earth science lesson where we're looking at discovering exoplanets, and we create a model of a solar system with the sun and a revolving.
I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson, your personal astrophysicist. And if you see me in one of these things, you know Chuck Nice can't be far away.
That's right. I am Chuck Nice, and I am not your personal astrophysicist.
So
yes, the future robots all have exoskeletons.
That's right.
So an exoskeleton is just beetles have exoskeleton, lobsters have exoskeletons. They're squishy on the inside and firm on the outside.
So that's an awesome resource that we have here. It's designed to be dropped into core comprehensive curriculum. If you need a little change of pace in any kind of unit, these are awesome. And then another channel of content that we have that we're really proud of is Deep in the Heart. And this was a nature documentary done on Texas wildlife, narrated by Matthew McConaughey. And we worked with the team to develop these 5E lessons around parts of the documentary. So we have these written by an expert teacher. We have 9, 12, and then also elementary and middle school activities. And I'll see if I can play for you a clip. I mean, this is an awesome stuff, and if you haven't seen it, it's beautiful, it's well narrated, well done, very specific to.
When salt water from the Gulf passes through them, it combines with the fresh water and nutrients from our rivers, creating an underwater prairie of grass that attracts life from across the hemisphere.
So to be able to, take a break from your normal, I'll stop screen sharing. So to be able to take a break from your normal lesson sequence and then drop in a supplemental unit like this. Sorry, lost my controls. Is one of the powerful features of Notebook. We have this lesson library of content, which will grow the whole time that you're using Pocket Lab. Like, textbooks are static, right? They're meant to align to standards, and they go through this very rigorous process, which we have been involved in for the last year and a half in Texas. But they're meant to be static, and this lesson library will always be growing really new, interesting content in there. When the total solar eclipse happens and passes over, much of Central Texas, in the spring, we'll have new lessons in there around that event. When we go send astronauts back to the moon, when the Artemis mission launches in November, we'll have activities about that, which are really interesting current events that you can use in your classroom. And then I think one thing I failed to mention, John, you and I, all of this is scored 100% on the TEKS and ELPS review. So all these programs were reviewed by the Texas Education Agency and scored 100% alignment for biology, chemistry, physics, and integrated. So, it's been vetted and it is ready for 2024. So I wanted to emphasize that. And I don't, if there's more questions in the chat, which I don't see any now, but yeah, if you have any other remaining questions, please throw it in there. But yeah, any last thoughts, John?
No, I just want to thank everyone for your interest in what we're offering here, and that in my mind is community-based learning and community-based teaching together. We've been here for a long time. We're going to be here as long as we can because this is important. This mission of turning students on to their natural environment, curiosity. That's where it begins. Whether they're going ahead into college or not, they're going to become adults, and we need that science literacy out there. We really do. That's our
I saw
mission.
one more question. Theron Hernandez asked about how do you connect Pocket Lab when selecting a trial. It's really easy. There's one button on the Pocket Lab device, and that turns on Bluetooth, and then you can connect to whatever device you have, be that a computer, a Chromebook, a phone, a tablet, and then it will pair one-to-one and stream data. So it works like you'd connect to Bluetooth headphones or Bluetooth mouse. So then you have data that will go into your device. It's really simple. We do it with second graders, and then they go out and do weather experiments with their own Pocket Lab devices. So we try to make it as intuitive as possible. Sarah Robinson asked, are Pocket Lab sensors included with the Conceptual Academy curricula, or would you need to order it separate? So we have bundles with it, both the sensors and the curricula. You can also use the programs separately. We think it's a lot better, the marriage between the two. And if you're in Texas, those are all within the adoption process. So if you, hopefully it's easy for your district or your administrator to order. If you're outside of Texas, yes, we have all these available. They work really well together, but they can be used separately.
And I saw something in the chat about homeschools. We at Conceptual Academy have been working with homeschools since 2005. The community reached out to us, and so we actually have a strong presence within the homeschooling community. And so we have a site, learnscience.academy. You can learn more about that. But for Pocket Lab Notebook, this is dedicated primarily for public-private schools, though it's amenable to homeschools too, I bet. The conversation we have to have, Clifton.
Yeah, we have had homeschools use our sessions before and getting together in co-ops and doing science experiments together. So we love it. We want to foster great science education anywhere. So John McLean, maybe this isn't a question to us if we can hang around afterwards. We can't sort of go privately within this webinar, within the Zoom webinar, but perhaps Scott can fetch us a link, and Scott can fetch us a link so that we can follow up and answer whatever questions you might have. So thank you for that request, John, and Scott will facilitate. Well, if you are in Texas, we will be doing many laps around the state next 3-4 months. John will be in Austin here after Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah, it's a Round Rock, the IMCAT meeting.
We have a full slate of travel. So to the regional service districts, to some of the invited presentations at various districts. So I hope we get a chance to see some of the names in here in person. And please follow up with us. We are happy to help in whatever way we can.
All right.
Thanks, y'all.
Okay, excellent.